What is up, guys? It's your boy No Shoes, and we are back for TCL Season 12, Week 1, as we get ready to go against an old rival of ours from JLPC, the Rage Fist Annihilapes and PokePrimer. He's great battler, really tough opponent, and it's going to be really exciting to go against him this week. A little behind the scenes, me and Primer had some scheduling issues, and match kept getting pushed back, and finally, we actually ended up playing it later in the night last night. But my wife has to work early in the morning, so I didn't actually record me playing the battle. I'm actually gonna go back through and do a afterwards commentary of it. I don't plan on doing this all season. This was just kind of something I had to get the match in. It's already a little bit later for the match, so I had to get the match in, and I was ready to move on to the next week. And I just said, screw it, let's just play it and stuff. So the match has already happened, but we'll go through all of that here in a little bit. So we're going against Primer, and looking at his team here, I mean, he is a tough cookie. He's got Roaring Moon. That's just always scary. Heatran, I feel like, does a number on my team. He's got Manaphy, which in prep I wasn't worried about Manaphy. I'm not. That's kind of going to be a thing all season with me. I don't really have a huge water weakness. I don't really have any mons that are super worried about water types in general. And my biggest threats aren't scared of water. So when I was prepping for this match, I really just kind of set Manaphy into the back corner of my mind against Tail Glow and stuff, but kind of set it in the back corner of my mind. His Primeape is his Terra Capitan as well as his Sliggoo, and that's kind of scary. And then Ogerpon, like, I'm new to Paldea Draft, so I don't really know how to play with any of the new Paldea mons, but Ogerpon especially is really hard because I've watched a couple. Like, I watched all of GBA, so I've seen all of a bunch of those guys use these mons before, and I've played with some of these mons in competitive, but Ogerpon I haven't really tried out with yet, and there's not really been any draft league play of it just yet, so that's really scary. Sylveon really kind of is 50-50. It's a lot more specially bulky than physically bulky naturally. I mean, you can always run it a little bit more physical. It's not bad physically, but it's more specially bulky. And the mons that it will check being like Baxcalibur and stuff, they're physically offensive. Baxcalibur and Conkeldurr are both physically offensive. So I'm worried about it. It's sitting in the back of my mind, but I didn't really think anything of it. So, but he's got a really tough team to prep for and things. So it was really hard going through it, especially because it was week 1. But I think that I did pretty well here. As we get ready to go over the team. So I brought a few things. My first thought was Quagsire. I wanted to run Water Absorb. Again, I'm in my head. I'm thinking Manaphy's probably not coming. There's not really a big reason for Manaphy to come. So I didn't end up bringing Water Absorb. I brought Unaware instead because when doing calcs, if he D-dances once, I have nothing. I have no fairy types. I had to slow down any sort of dragon spam. I know that. I've known that going into this season. I'm trying to play around that a lot this season. But I have no fairy types. And he can just start crunching. Like, even my mons that are supposed to take his crunch don't take. something else will, and it gets Earthquake. So just one D-Dance. I was super scared about one singular D-Dance. So that's why I did the set like it was. Blizzard's I think supposed to take 60% if I hit. Stealth Rocks is there. Yawn to kind of slow him down and things like that. But that was really just a huge thing. I mean, trying to check the Roaring Moon, trying to check Ogerpon. I mean, Ogerpon can hit it with the stab grass move, but hoping I can catch that switch in, get the yawn, and maybe double back in and hit it with an Earthquake or something. And I think in prep, I prepped wrong for the Ogerpon because I think somewhere I ended up thinking I could live one, and I can't. I found that out mid-battle. And then Rafiki, the Grafai is there. I mean, there's no reason not to have my Prankstermon this week. Spread some Toxics, knockoff items. He's going to have a band somewhere. I've known that. I knew that going in. He's going to have a band or a choice or a spec somewhere. So I wanted to make sure I could knock that off. Parting Shot is always good. Good, especially if he starts setting up with something that's not Roaring Moon. But I can Parting Shot and kind of help it there. Plus, it helps with momentum. Galarian Slowking is really where you start to see the win con. So I saw a win con. I knew I had to have it. And that was Trick Room. Now, you might be thinking, why am I running Chilly Reception and Trick Room? And I'll explain that here in a minute. So I'm running Chilly Reception because I'm running a multifaceted kind of Baxcalibur this week. I don't know why my mind just blank. Multifaceted Baxcalibur. I'm running Scale Shot Baxcalibur with the Trick Room team because I wanted to kind of trip him up. I wanted to think I was gonna be dance or I was gonna be trying to outspeed and really hit hard, and then just double back end up with the Focus Sash and the Regenerator. I was try to absorb get some of the health back to get back to Sash, and then just Trick Room. Make sure I had to turn to Trick Room because King Gambit looks really, 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 really good against his team as a whole. He doesn't have a whole lot of coverage for it. His best answer, Sylveon, doesn't really, for the dark moves, doesn't really like the steel moves. Brick Break is there for the Roaring Moon and for the Ogerpon. And King Gambit looked so good in this match. Like I said, I'm running Scale Shot Baxcalibur with the Assault Vest. I ended up I can live one Moonblast or one Hyper Voice from the Sylveon, and Icicle Crash does 2-hit KO every time. Every time it 2-hits KOs, no matter if it's physically defensive or not. And then Kilowattrel's here. Again, just another way. Terra Steel, Kilowattrel is just another way to kind of help us out there with some of these mons. Like I said, I didn't see Manaphy coming, and I didn't. So, but then we get into the match, and I was wrong, as Manaphy is sitting there. Kamala was something that I really wasn't planning on being there, but I knew had a potential to come. That gives him a lot of good rapid spinning shenanigans there. So, as we go into the battle here, I was looking at it, and I had no idea what was going to happen. Because this whole team, I didn't expect quite a couple of these mons. Primeape I knew was coming. I didn't know what Terra type he was going to be. I forget what Terra types he could be. but I didn't know what Terra type he was gonna be. And like I said, that Manaphy was just caught me so off guard. I didn't know why he brought it. Didn't know what to expect from it. But as we get into this, Electrify, I was hoping really to get some toxic shenanigans going, and I forgot that Primeape gets Defiant. I kind of blanked turn 1 with that, so I parting shot it out because I really needed that. And then he comes back. The Drain Punch doesn't do anything. I knew he was going with something along those lines. And then the Rage Fist does quite a bit. And Sludge Bomb, the poison helps there. So I Sludge Bomb. I thought about going for the Chilly Reception turn 1, but I knew that he was probably coming back with something. And so I Sludge Bomb. I got the poison. You can see now he's Terra Fire, which is a huge thing for me moving on through this. Allowed me to bring in Quagsire pretty freely because I knew at this point he didn't have anything for Quagsire, which forced the switch there and allowed me to get my rocks up here. Rocks were huge against this team. Something that I really wanted to get up were the rocks. I was really hoping to have some other forms of hazards this round, but he actually has a lot of removal. The one that he brought was Kamala, but he had a little bit more that kind of worried me. But this is where I started freaking out because I had no idea what Manaphy was about to do here behind the substitute. Like I said, I didn't prep for it at all, so I knew one Tail Glow and I was done for. And I get lucky he Energy Balled. I don't know why he didn't think I was like I had no play there except for to switch out. So I'm assuming at this point that he didn't have set up Tail Glow, which I was really excited for. I Terra'd so that whatever he did, and then he just chose to resub. I mean, he's got the lefties, so I would too. And then came the Kamala. I switched here. I wanted to get in a better position. He's going to rapid spin the rocks away. And this is where I really, really start to make some mess ups here. I Chilly Reception into Excalibur, and my first thought, I should have known that he would not stay in with this Kamala because there's no point in it. So he U-turns into the Sylveon, and of course I went for Scale Shot. If I Iron Head there, I'm in such a great spot to start because that immediately removes the Sylveon from my team, and I really, really could have used that. But like I said, I know I can live one Hyper Voice. I ended up lucky here with the flinch, and it didn't really matter. But I knew I could live one Hyper Voice, and I always 2-hit KO. The crit didn't matter. But then came the problem child. And if you notice, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to go with this. Because I knew this was going to be a huge turning point in the match. And I brought it, again, in my prep, I thought to myself that I could live one. And it cost me big right here because I lost my defensive check to everything. And as soon as Dirk went down, I knew I was going to I put myself in the back foot here. I knew I was going to have to try to bring it back somehow. So I started switching around here, trying to get myself into a better position. Brought back in Galarian Slowking. Somehow survived this knockoff, which was really clutch for me. The sash didn't matter at this point. Got back in, back Excalibur, and freely got to get the scale shot up. But again, I don't. I'm supposed to be under Trick Room that I'm not going to get this match. So, he was trying. I knew what he was trying there, but at that point, I knew he was too slow. But this is where it really struck because the Roaring Moon. I mean, I was supposed to be under Trick Room, and when I wasn't under Trick Room, it just was not good. I played for a little bit of a flinch here, but I went down. I mean, I'm going to go down every time. And then this is where I really kind of threw my game. I lived the Dragon Claw, which immediately told me he was banded. And then I parting shot it instead of Toxic. If I had Toxic, I might have had a better chance here. Maybe. But then he just brings in Ogerpon and just cleans from here. Because I really can't do anything against this thing anymore. Because I'm supposed to be Trick Room. Superpower. And so we fall 3-0 to Primer. Great job, Primer. Great prep. Great prep on Primer's part. Because the Manaphy just threw me, and I was just really struggling to figure out a way to deal with it. Spent most of the game trying to figure out a way to deal with it. But great job, Primer. Like I said, I hope I don't have to keep doing this. I don't plan on doing this a lot more. I plan on everything being live, so I can just talk. You can see me talk through it and work through it some. But really sorry for how this one turned out. And next week we got an interesting match, but I hope to see you guys next time.